by someone else to the hospital. All right, because of the time constraint, so we may have to cut short our question and answer session. So please bear with us. All right, Mr. Chen Wing-yin, next. Chairman, I'd like to focus more on the support for the EMs. Well, every year the administration has been spending a lot on support services for the EMs. For example, the community support services, and also some support centers, support service centers for EMs. Well, taking the support service centers, all right, 6 centers have been set up, and also 2 sub-centers have been set up. So they look like they are very diversified. For example, they have language and also interpretation and even counseling services are all available. But then if you look at the publicity leaflets, well, most of them are written in Canton, in Chinese and English. So only 3 include language, EM language, and in some of the activities, well, we have talked to the women from Pakistan, and we try to ask them whether or not they understand the language in the leaflets, and only 1 service center is able to allow these women to know exactly what service is available so that they can make their choice. But then 2 support service centers are providing information that is really not understandable to them. For example, well, setting aside the Chinese leaflet, well, that would constitute a large part of the leaflet, so it gives people the impression that it's mainly for Chinese or ethnic Chinese, and it's not for the EMs. And very often, there would only be just one-line statement. For example, a support service for the EMs in Urdu, but then for them, they would not understand what it is about. So, well, with such leaflets, what's the purpose of it? So is it for the publicity of the services so that those in need would be able to use the service? Or is it just to show that they've already done their job, they've already handed in their homework? So in terms of this, what's the role played by the government? So are they trying to outsource this to other organizations so that they won't be taking up this responsibility after that? But then, honestly, I do not see how these service leaflets, well, even if it reaches a South Asian, well, will he be able to understand what service is available to him? So that's all I'd like to say for today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Next, Ms. Lo Xin-chi. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to talk about healthcare services. So what's meant by equal healthcare services according to the WHO? It should cover 2 aspects. First, services should meet the needs of the patient, so it should be patient-centered. And for healthcare services, it's not just about treatment. Other than going to the doctor for outpatient clinic, it should also be about health education, prevention, so that for those in need, they would be able to get timely and appropriate services when they need that. So we have to understand what's the need of the patient. Well, just now, many representatives have talked about interpretation service. I don't think I need to dwell on that. Well, for the healthcare needs of the EMs, they would not just be confined to interpretation services. We have to understand the different groups and their specific health needs. To understand that, then the first step to do is for the administration to get hold of statistics about these groups' health. They can also make reference to the practice in the UK, so at outpatient clinics and at hospitals. Well, for the inpatient services, they will have to collect figures or data about these ethnic groups, or they could also commission universities in conducting studies so that they can build databases on the health conditions of different groups, so that they can make reference to that in coming up with healthcare policies, and those data should also be made available to the public. And such data should include, first, the morbidity pattern. For example, for a particular group, if they are more prone to a particular type of cancer, and the mortality rate is particularly high, and also the health conditions. For example, if a particular group is more susceptible to heart diseases. And thirdly, they should also make a comparison of the morbidity rate of a particular group in Hong Kong, and also how does that compare was set in their home country. For example, for Pakistani in Hong Kong, for those who are suffering from heart diseases in Hong Kong, and for those who are suffering from heart diseases in their home country, how do they compare? And also, what's the way that they contract such diseases? So if the administration is able to get hold of such data, then it will be able to have a basis for evidence-based healthcare policies. Other than that, such data would also help the administration in stepping up prevention and also community health services. For example, they should target different groups, diet and also lifestyle, so that more health education can be conducted on them, and they can also target particular groups so that they can also do more health checks and be given more effective treatment. And for the healthcare coupons, they should also be given more choices so that they can also identify family doctors that they can go to when they have such a need. So I'm afraid because of the incident just now, we might not be able to have any Q&A session for this particular session. So, government officials, would you like to make a brief response to the points that have been made just now? So who would like to speak?
如果冇都唔緊要，我哋可以下一次一次過做晒都可以嘅，因為呢。
It's okay. We can do that in the next session because we should have ended by 3:55. So please do continue to pay attention to that. And just now, the speakers have asked this subcommittee to continue to work. We are striving to make it more permanent or extend the term for the subcommittee. We should also be looking at some anti-discrimination legislation, and also we will also be dealing with subjects that you're concerned about. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you. So we'll break for 5 minutes. Thank you.